Good morning, Brownsville. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frank Olivo. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting our local community. We have shed light on injustices, and we have allowed for our platform, this mic, to be that of the voice of the people. Now, if this is something that you can see yourself supporting, we ask that you like, comment, and share this live feed. Now, as of late, our Facebook page is at risk of being taken down. The powers that be do not want you, the voter, to know the truth. But remember, we will not be silenced. Now, if you're really about the cause and you want to stand up to corruption and you want to hold our elected leaders accountable, we ask that you subscribe to our social media platforms. Currently, right now, we're streaming on all of our social media platforms. We could be found on X under X, formerly known as Twitter, under Frankie Olivo, on Facebook as well, Frankie Olivo. And on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel titled Frankie Olivo TV. Remember, Good Morning Brownsville will come on Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. religiously. So make sure you subscribe to our social media platforms to tune in. And once again, thank you so much, Brownsville, for your time and attention that you provide us. Thank you so much for that. How we doing, chat? How we doing? Happy Wednesday. I do want to apologize beforehand. I am having some technical difficulties. Technology, if it's not one thing, it's the other. I'm having problems with my green screen. Currently, right now, I'm on my page, Frankie Olivo, on Facebook with 40,000 subscribers. I can't stream on the software that I use. It's one thing after another. So if you want to watch the program with all the visuals and everything, go to our YouTube page titled Frankie Olivo TV. That will probably be the best way for you to get the best, the very best of me. And I'm very OCD, if you haven't realized already. I'm very particular in regards to my craft. And when something goes wrong, it just eats me inside. So it's just like, little things like this really, really bother me. But again, it's technology, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to try my best to give you the very best of me. So please, I ask for your patience because there's always something with technology, unfortunately. But as they say, the show must always go on. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking about a very interesting topic. Today, we are going to talk about our drinking water. Is it safe? You know, BPUB does claim that the drinking water is safe, but do we believe them? Heck no. We're going to test the water, ladies and gentlemen, live. So make sure that you stick around for the duration of this program. It's going to be interesting. And that is how we will start today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in, Brownsville.
Hi, Cameron here. Today I'd like to share with you how you can test your total dissolved solids at home using our TDS3 TDS meter. Before we begin, it's very important to understand what TDS actually is. TDS is the calculated amount of mobile ions, dissolved salts and minerals that can be found inside your water source. They give an overall indication of the health of your water. To begin, you'll need to rinse out your canister around 3 to 4 times to ensure there's no other contaminants found inside the canister. Once you've done that, simply take the cap off the TDS meter and push the on button. Insert the TDS meter into the water. You want to swirl it around for around 10 seconds. What this will do is ensure that all the water's gone around the receiver and it's going to give you an accurate result. Once we've hit that 10-second mark, push the hold button at the very top. That'll then hold the TDS reading for you and allow you to set the result outside of the water there. So the TDS here is now showing at 116 parts per million, and that'll hold there for 20 seconds so you can write that down.
Now, again, when we think of drinking water, you know, it's very important. Water, as we know, is the most critical resource of our lifetime. The health of our water is very important. It is the principal measure of how we live our lives. The mineral water that we drink today is not as pure as we would want it to be. Why? Because it is riddled with impurities, contaminations, chemicals. Now, a glass of water, just how I showed you on the screen of the video, it can prove that what we're drinking is harmful to our bodies. Why? Because it is not properly purified. When it comes to understanding water and its components, we must understand TDS. TDS, ladies and gentlemen, stands for the total dissolved solids and refers to the total amount of concentration of dissolved substances in drinking water. Now, today, ladies and gentlemen, we will be testing live the water from BPUB. Why? Well, because they did issue a report recently. And before that, ladies and gentlemen, before that, I do want to focus on something very, very important. I want to talk about what we've talked about previously. Who can forget that there was a report that found that fecal matter was human and animal waste, fecal matter, poo-poo, however you want to call it, was found in our water. And this isn't something that I'm reporting, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that comes from BPUB itself, based on the 2024 water quality test results. They did find, even though it is a small percentage of fecal matter, they did find it in the water that we found. Now, BPUB, they did issue a report that they issue out every year, and they did state that the water is safe for us to drink. But again, do we really think that they're being honest with us? No. And based on our report, we are going to show you how it is best for you to find this information on your own. Now, its annual comprehensive report on water testing, BPUB did want to remind its residents, its customers, that the water is safe. They did state that the water quality is one of the highest purities and that they test the water regularly. They maintain strict compliances with regulations, that they invest in the infrastructure needed because they want to deliver safe and reliable sources of water to the community. BPUB officials, they did state that the utility provider, that they annually publish a report that details the results of the water quality testing that's conducted throughout the calendar year. And according to their report, they state that the drinking water, they found no drinking water violations, and that unequivocally it demonstrates and shows that the city of Brownsville, their water is safe to drink. Now, the release did continue to note that BPUB does adhere to strict protocols for microbiological contaminations. They include the annual collections of samples, and they do report of any positive results. And out of the 1,400, close to 1,500 water samples that were collected, they said that one initial sample did test positive for fecal coliform bacteria. They did report this on the report that I just showed you. But again, do we really believe what they have to say? I would take what they say with a grain of salt. When we think about, ladies and gentlemen, when we think about BPUB, what do we think about? Well, we think about, Joshua Morales. Joshua Morales was actually the one that did report or did publish the water. And I see that you're doing what you're doing in San Juan. Let's do Monday, Joshua. Let's do Monday or Tuesday if you're available. I am having some technical difficulties with StreamYard. For whatever reason, it's not coming through. But if you're free on Monday or Tuesday, we'll go on live. Let me know if you are available. Thank you so much for tuning in. When we think of, ladies and gentlemen, when we think of BPUB, we think of the Tenaska ordeal, how millions and millions of dollars were spent on a project that ultimately wasn't brought into fruition. And when you ask the people, the residents of Brownsville, what are their thoughts on BPUB? Well, I would dare say 9 out of 10 people will say that they have been lied to, that they have been stolen from, that they are ratas. This isn't me that's saying it, it's the people. That is the common sentiment that we have. There wasn't no arrest, ladies and gentlemen, of anyone for their wrongdoings, even though there was a report that stated that even after it was known by leadership of the city of Brownsville, by leadership of PUB, once that it was known that this Tanasca project was not going to happen, they continued to build. You're talking about attorneys, engineers, consultants. They got rich. So whenever we talk about PUB, they don't have a good standing within the community. So whatever they say, ladies and gentlemen, we as residents, we take with a grain of salt. Now, they did report, they did come out and say, hey, look, we focus on making sure that the waters is tested regularly. And look, we did find one sample that did come out positive, but it is small in percentage and it shouldn't have anything. It shouldn't affect us with our drinking water. They say that the city of Brownsville is without a doubt safe to drink. But again, do we believe them, ladies and gentlemen? I would take that. I would take that with a grain of salt. Now, I'm no biologist. I am not someone that is an expert in this matter by no means. And I'm glad Joshua Morales is tuning in live. And again, he has been following this. He's tested water in Hidalgo County. One thing that I do want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are going to test in a few minutes the water from our faucets. Because it's one thing for PUB to tell us, it's another thing for us to find that information on our own. Now, everything that we do, once we get a lead, we always make sure to follow up on that. We did have a concerned citizen reach out to us and say, hey, Frankie, even though PUB did report that the drinking water is safe, look what I found. Now, I have in front of me, and I'm going to show you a meter, a water meter. This is the digital TDS meter. And this meter, ladies and gentlemen, the TDS meter, it is for total dissolved solids, and it refers to the total concentration of dissolved substances in drinking water. TDS, total dissolved solids, it does comprises of inorganic salts and a small amount of organic matter as well. Now, the TDS level is how much of the total dissolved solids are present in the water. And why is this important? Why is this meter important for us to use? Well, TDS in drinking water, it originates from places like natural sources, sewages, urban runoffs, industrial water, wastewater, chemicals in water that is processed, fertilizers used in the garden and plumbing. So even though we hear that the water is safe to drink, we need to do our due diligence, ladies and gentlemen, and investigate on our own. These objects, these meters, ladies and gentlemen, they're affordable. They're possibly $10 to $12 at most on Amazon. And I encourage you to find it. To find it on Amazon and look for it for yourself. Okay, breaking news. We do have the map, the redistricting map of District 34. Does it go into Hidalgo County? I don't believe so. Wow. Let me post this very quickly. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. The Texas legislators, they have released redistricting map for District 34. Let me tag Congressman Vicente Gonzalez. Let me tag Flight Mayra Flores. I'll tag her right now. Anyways, huge developments, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be covering this in detail, possibly this week. So it is official, ladies and gentlemen. We do have the map. I just posted it on our page. If you are anxious to see it, it is interesting. How is this going to affect the races moving forward? It has big ramifications across the board. Back to what we were dealing with. This TDS meter. This is a great indicator for you to find out whether the water that you drink, the water that you bathe in, is safe. Now, I had a concerned citizen reach out to me and say, hey, Frankie, look what I found. Remember that these people said that it was safe to drink? Not so fast. They showed me results that weren't pleasant. Now, it is my job to do my due diligence. And before you, ladies and gentlemen, I want to show you the very back of this meter. This is the levels of how pure the water is. And it states, how pure is your water? And this measures from 0 to 500. If the water, if you test your water and it reads anywhere from 0 to 50, it is an ideal water drinking supply. It is there on the screen. When we talk about the higher it gets, the worse, the more contaminated it is. If it goes from 50 to 100, it is carbon filters. If it reads 100 to 200, it is hard water. When it reads 200 to 300, that is marginally acceptable, like, we're walking a fine line here. When it reads 300 to 400, that is the average tap water. So once we get to 300, that's average. Once it gets to 400 to 500, that's high tap mineral spring. Once it gets to 500 level on the meter, based on the diagram that is on the screen, once it reaches 500, ladies and gentlemen, that is the level of contamination. Look at the pictures that I was sent. Very alarming. They did say, look, Frankie, just so you won't think that I'm messing with you, it's at 0. Look at these pictures. It's in the red. I can't read that. I believe it was 600. But let's continue. 800. And this is in the city of Brownsville. Again, if it's over 500, ladies and gentlemen, that means that the water is contaminated. Let's keep going. And this was done on separate days because I asked them, look, give me different reads. Don't just give me reads from the same day. They said, okay. Now, is the water that we're drinking, is it contaminated? And they said, look, this is what I got. This is the reads that I got, Frankie. How about you do your homework? How about you show the people live and see what it says, see what the water says, what the meter says. I said, okay. You have to tell me twice. So let's go. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. I have clear cups. Two glass cups in front of you. One will be from a bottled water, and the next one will be from the faucet water for PUB. Give me 1 second, fam. Okay, just so you won't think that I manipulated anything or did something, this is the water that's contaminated. My left, your right. And I'm going to show you. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing, okay? Here is the glass of water that is empty that I'm going to put bottled water, okay? Let me put the mic away for a little bit, okay? It's empty. This is what I'm going to put the bottled water. I have the bottled water here. I haven't opened it. Okay, you following me? Let's try it out. I'm going to open the bottled water. I'm going to pour it in front of you. Just enough. Okay, I'm going to place it. Okay, I'm going to put it here just so you won't think that I'm messing with you. This is the meter, ladies and gentlemen. This is the bottled water, okay? This is the meter. I'm going to turn it on. It's green. You see it? It's green. I'm going to clear it. I'm going to clear it. I pressed it 3 times. I'm going to put it in. Let's see what it reads for 10 seconds. It already gave me a read. It's green. So I'm going to get up close. The bottled water, ladies and gentlemen. The bottled water. It reads 18. It is green. What does 18 mean? 18 means that it's not contaminated with. Can you read that? Can you see that? It's digital. Let me take a picture of it just so you won't think that I'm messing with you. I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to post it on this live so you won't think that I'm messing with you. I'm going to post it because I don't want y'all to say, Frankie's a liar. Let me see. I'm going to post it live. If you have any questions. I can't post. Ugh. Okay. I'm going to post it on my page. Well, I'm going to post both of them. Okay. So this is 18. 18, according to this, at the bottom, it says from 0 to 50, it is ideal drinking water. This is the bottled water. I'm going to close it. All right. Now let's read. Let's clean it. Let's clear it. Let's clear it. Where's the towel? Here's the towel. Let me clean it. I'm cleaning it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm cleaning the meter. I turned it off. Okay. I'm turning it on. It's digital, so you probably can't see it on the camera. Now, I'm clearing it just to make sure. Just to make sure that the previous read doesn't come out. I have here PUB water from the tap, de la llave. Let's put it in. Boom, red. 634. Let me take a picture. $6.38. I'm sorry. 640. Can you see that red? Does it show? You see that red? A 640, ladies and gentlemen. According to this, again, can you see that red? I'm putting it on my face. It's red. According to this meter, 640, it is the US EPA's max contaminated level. What does that say? What is it that an indicator of? That the water that's coming from my tap water, from my llave, is contaminated, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this individual that did their readings, is in downtown Brownsville. I tested at the office and I tested it at home. And they both came back with levels of contamination. We talked about how the military supplies, the San Pedro area, what is that? Western Brownsville. Western Brownsville, ladies and gentlemen, has had issues for the past decade. They've been having water that looks like coffee. Their clothes, ladies and gentlemen, discolors because of they're washing with caca. When you think about the livelihood and the quality of life, that's not safe. One mother said that her daughter was developing like a skin irritation, that she was having stomach problems, and the only thing that she could think of was the water. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do we believe with all our hearts that PUB is lying to us, that's being honest with us? Heck no. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to sound like a foofies, okay? I grew up in the hood. I'm still in the hood. I grew up running around with pulgas, throwing myself in the dirt. When my mom called me to go home, I would go to the llave. I would drink water from the faucet. We all grew up like that. Okay? And we joke, hey, that's the reason why I'm healthy, because of the water that I drank. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem. We have a big problem on our hands. And this is something that is an issue that many, let's call it communities, many areas, not just here in South Texas, throughout the United States. When we talk about Flint, Michigan, a few years, what was that, close to a decade ago? What happened in Flint, Michigan? Their water was contaminated with. Ladies and gentlemen, water is essential to our daily lives. And one thing also that I forgot, that my friend said, Frankie, you know what we use water for? We use water for our coffee. We use water for our ice cubes. Yes or no? Yo abro la llave and I fill up the ice cube thing with faucet water. When we make a sopa, what do we use? Agua de la llave. Remember? Puente says, hey, we use water for our pets. We may want to consider changing that. We may want to consider changing that. Ladies and gentlemen, it is important for us to recognize and realize that what we have been dealing with in the city of Brownsville has been nothing but a lie after a lie after a lie after a lie. Individuals, ladies and gentlemen, individuals are getting sick. People are developing problems. And why? What can we pin it to? Our water. Our water, ladies and gentlemen. You don't look. What I do is not easy, ladies and gentlemen. I get criticized. PUB is going to want to come on and discredit me. PUB is going to comment after today's program and say, ese vato está loco. Look at our reports. Don't listen to him. He's a nobody. Whatever I say, ladies and gentlemen, I expect you to do your homework. I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to force you to believe what I say. By no means. My job before you is to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, the black and the white. Stay away from the gray area. My job is to give you all the enchilada. Whatever you do with that information, it's up to you, Jack. That's up to you. I encourage each and every one of you to go to Amazon and purchase a TDS digital meter. It is very affordable. You won't spend no more than $10, $12. This is what it looks like. Now, why am I covering this? Because how much money do they charge us for PUB? They're charging us for resaca fees. They're charging us for purification of the water. And what bothers me, ladies and gentlemen, is that we're paying high amounts for electricity. We're paying high amounts for the water, for the resaca, and then we're bathing in caca. We expect that if we pay for a service, we expect to get the best damn quality of whatever product it is. Excuse me. Let me take a drink, not from the caca water, but from the bottled water. Ladies and gentlemen, don't believe anything I say. Do your homework. Do your research. Buy a digital TDS meter. Pour some water from your faucet in a clear glass cup, and you test out your water. And you will say, tenía razón ese loco chingado. Tenía razón ese loco. YouTube user says, my husband has been telling me for years not to drink the tap water. He tested it and proved it wasn't good. He tested our bottled water and it was slightly better. And watermill was the best for use to cook. PUB is going to say, no, this guy's wrong. Don't listen to him. Está loco el vato. Está loco. We spend so much money, ladies and gentlemen, on these services. And what bothers me is that PUB has monopolized. They have monopolized their services. We have to live outside of the city limits to even get El Jardín, to get military highway supply water. But even that is contaminated with. They purchase from PUB. So essentially it's the same damn water. We need to be vocal about this because this affects our quality of life, not just for us. And look, maybe, you're saying, and the way I think, ladies and gentlemen, maybe it's wrong, but I'm saying, look, I'm close to 40 years old. I've lived a very good life. And, I hope I live another 40, 50 years. But the reality is we might die tomorrow. But we want to make tomorrow a better place for those future generations. We want them to have what we didn't have. We need to be vocal. We need to say, hey, we want competition. Brownsville, city leaders, Mayor Cowan, at-large Golonsky, at-large Villarreal, look into this matter. They're going to say, oh, well, then buy a purification system. Why the hell are we paying PUB so much money? Because they're supposed to be purifying our water. We have a great responsibility to be vocal. We have a great responsibility to focus on improving the quality of life moving forward. We really do, ladies and gentlemen. We really, really do. We need to make Brownsville a better place for you and I, and for all future generations. We need clean water. PUB is going to do what they will, and they're going to say, no, this guy's wrong. But you do your homework. You buy a TDS meter. You figure out and find out, hey, we have someone else. I have two different people from two walks of life that do not coincide with each other, have no communication with each other, and they've reached out to me and they said, look, Frankie, look at my results. You should get a TDS meter and test your home, test your office. And that's what I did. Now, what is this going to lead to? Well, this is probably going to lead to, now we need to focus on infrastructure. Now we need a bond of hundreds of millions of dollars to fix the pipes and the plumbing and this, that, and that. We've been lied to, ladies and gentlemen. We will continue to be lied to. Do we believe PUB? Heck no. We don't. We don't trust them. Maybe you do. I don't trust them. It's sad because we have no other way out. We have no options. And in life, as we all know, having options is a beautiful thing because it creates competition. Competition is great. I love competition. It should bring out the very best in oneself. But if PUB has nobody to compete with, they're not going to improve. They're not going to do anything better. What for? But our city leadership has enslaved us, have forced us. They've forced us to only buy from them, to only use PUB services. At the island, at South Padre, there is competition. When it comes to electrical companies, they're by the dozens. And the rates are very affordable. Why? Because there's competition. Competition is good. We need to stand up and say, hey, liberate us. Freedom! They're going to laugh at us. They're going to laugh at me. They're going to say, Frankie, he's a nobody. Don't listen to him. I encourage each and every one of you to purchase your meter. There might be some of you that purify your water. That's good. That's great. But most of the raza, we don't have money for that. We don't have the means to set up these purification systems that cost thousands of dollars. We just don't. That's the reality of this. We pay so much money to PUB because we think that they're purifying the water. We think that the water that we receive from our tap is clean, is purified. We're bathing in poop. We're drinking coffee with poop water. We're filling our ice trays with poop water. Grandma is making caldo with poop water. That's essentially what's happening, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it all boils down to. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. I will do my very best to be vocal. I will be there and I will be complaining and I'll cause a scene if you want me to, Brownsville. I'll do it. I love it. I live for that. But I need your help. I need you to stand with me. I need you to stand behind me. Don't show your face, but support the cause. I'll go down on my shield. I'll do it with honor. You want me to amp this up? You want me to make us think about it? I'll do it. But the very little that I ask is to support the cause. How do you support the cause? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Frankie Olivo TV. Tell your friends and family to do the same. I will never ask you for money, Brownsville. I genuinely want a better quality of life for you and your household. I really do. The little that I ask, support the cause. Support the cause. That is the only thing that I will ever ask of my community. So please join me in this fight. It's not going to be easy. We're going up against a monster. We saw that nothing happened about Tanasca. Do we expect them to change? Do we expect them? Frankie said for us to open up competition. Okay, but Frankie. No, Frankie está loco. Frankie no sabe. If they didn't listen to Erasmo Castro, you think they're going to listen to me? No. But they will listen to an army. They will listen to people that are sick and tired of dealing with their crap, literally. I am just one person, ladies and gentlemen. But you want me to lead the way? You want me to spearhead this? I will do it gladly. But I also encourage you to join the cause. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you realize and understand the importance of this matter, because water is vital to us moving forward. We bathe in it. We use it for coffee. We use it for sopas. We use it to fill our ice trays. And what did we find? What did the test results show? That the water is contaminated. I encourage you to purchase a TDS digital meter. It is affordable. You won't spend no more than $12 on it. Do your research. And once you do your research, I am convinced without a doubt in my mind that you will realize que este loco, que Joshua Morales, tenía toda la razón. Thank you so much for tuning in Brownsville, Cameron County. I hope that this has opened up your eyes, and we have a lot of work to do. If you want a better quality of life, it starts today. Join the cause. Support Good Morning Brownsville. Go on YouTube TV and subscribe to Frankie Olivo TV. My name is Frankie Olivo, and this is Good Morning Brownsville. Peace!